Good morning. We're going to be starting chapter 3 today, which is our last chapter of our first module on the geology of Mars. So, we're going to be looking at some new information on Mars throughout today's class and talking a little bit about how we can evaluate this evidence. So, looking back at our chapter 2 question that we looked at last week, we asked how can we gather more evidence about whether lava or water formed the channel on Mars? And our big answer to that question was simply models. Because we're not on Mars, it's a lot harder for us to actually study that channel and what's around it. So by making models of what we see happening on Earth, we can compare the outcome of those models to the ones on Mars. And we can do that using computer simulations like they did for Venus. We can do that using actual physical models like our stream table that show the difference between a channel that is carved out by water and a channel that is carved out by lava, as well as the difference in how high that channel might start and how steep that hill is. So our big answer to the chapter 2 question was talking about using models in order to actually gather more evidence about Mars. For our chapter 3 question, we're going to ask how can we decide which geological process formed the channel on Mars? So what we're going to be looking for here is, first off, to actually make our claim. By the end of the week, you're going to be writing down what you think formed the channel on Mars, water or lava. We're also going to make sure that we take all of the evidence we've gathered so far, including some new evidence that you'll see this week, and put it in order of what we think is the most convincing. We need to actually evaluate our evidence and make sure that what we're using for our evidence makes sense. It creates a really strong argument, and it is convincing enough evidence for us to make our claim and use that evidence to support our claim. So today's big questions that we're going to be thinking about throughout the rest of class is, first off, how do scientists determine whether evidence is convincing or not? So if we have all of these different pieces of evidence, all of these photos, all of these models, how can we decide what is the most convincing evidence to help us answer our question? Our other question is, which geological process or processes form triangle-shaped landforms? So we're going to be looking at some new information about this landform, looking at the shape of it, the size of it, how it was created, hopefully how it was created, and we're trying to figure out what processes could actually form this triangle shape that's at the bottom of our landform that you're going to be introduced to later in today's lesson. So you should have already done your vocab do first. Before we move on to actually sorting out our evidence, I want you to go ahead and answer the poll on the next page and just tell me what you think so far. Before any new evidence, before we sort it out and make our claim, up to this point, do you think that that channel was created by lava or created by water? Go ahead and answer that on the poll on the next page, and then I'll see you guys in just a little bit as we start to sort through some of our evidence.